Thokozani bogogo nabomkhulu. It's Wednesday. Ooh, Tasa lipstick. Gosh. I hope the network will be kind to us, but I've got a very good feeling about it. Natural, I suppose. Ooh, but lipstick I drank so much coffee, I actually drank it away. It's matata. I'm Gogo Lerato. I'm Gogo Kanda Lembube. Today's class, we'll see how it goes. I literally decided 1 minute ago that I'm doing Malopo spirits. I actually wanted to teach about mermaid spirits, but I think Malopo spirits are going to give us a little bit of foundation because there's a lot of similarities between Malopo and mermaid spirits. So let's read the Bible and then rapel. Jesu Kriste matla otlhe bona khanya lefatshe bona re bulelang ditsela ra mo ema morena modimo ya matla otlhe ke a bitsa wena ntate o a le hodimo ke a bitsa wena mme wa lewatle ke a le bitsa bonkgodi bo ntate moholo ba makubetse ba mtjali ba bogatso re teleng pele manyelo ka ofela go tlontsene tsa lefatshe habe wena monghadi habe wena senatla sa le hodimo o tla bua habe wena tla etela bana ba hao pele ebe wena tla ba thusa Jehova ka lebitso la le matla Jesu Kriste amen thokozani qamaku makhosi le sedi khanya. So let's read the Bible as I try to generate my thoughts. I hope today's teaching will go into YouTube. So today's teaching on YouTube as well, so that at least, you know, a lot of people have been saying, hey, we don't have Facebook. Can you put it there? So I'm going to put it there. Baling the scriptures. Amen. Seo re se utlwileng re bile re se bone motseng wa morena mabotho motseng wa modimo wa rona o modimo a o tisitseng ka ho sa feleng modimo re hopola mohau wa hao re le ka tempeleng ya hao jwalo ka ha lebitso la hao modimo thoriso ya hao e fihla jwalo pheletsong tsa lefatshe tsoho la hao le letona le tletse toka thaba ya Sione e ke e thabe mitse ya Juda e ke e nyakalle amen. That is Psalm 48 verses 9 to 12. Psalm 48 verses 9 to 12. Okay. So Malopo. Some people have said Malope. I know. I believe ke ka Sotho. I know even le mo ditaoleng go na le taole bitswa Malope. And Malope normally ke moloi, right? But Malopo, I believe, is a gift coming for a certain type of people. So let me give you guys a little bit of history, right? So people moved down, you know, from Malawi down to Mozambique, from Mozambique with the migration, with the trades, Botswana also, Bahurutsi, who are relatives to Zimbabweans, coming down, right? And then there's a certain tribe, Yabatu Babitwang Bachope. I don't really know enough about them, but I've seen the name Chope come up in a lot of my readings. So these people must have sort of created their own language. I believe Chope is like mixture of people who were actually originally coming from above Mozambique, possibly like your Malawi, possibly Tanzania, possibly even Kenyans moving down, right? Mozambique, coming down, filtering, mixing Libatswana, Babotswana, Bakhalakadi, I suppose, because Bahurutsi are cousins of Zimbabweans, coming down into what we would call present day Northern Transvaal. It's not Northern Transvaal anymore. Ki Polokwane, that area, into your Guianis, northern, the northern province. So in actual fact, and I do feel that I stand to be corrected, but the image that the ancestors, your ancestors, give me is that the Jope people were like initially a language was like a trader's language. But by saying anything kadi mine, honale fanagalo, right? Fanagalo is like a mixture of all of the South African languages because I guess kodi mine they couldn't decide which language to be spoken, right? So Jope almost feels like that, like a trader's language. When you go on the opposite side into Botswana, moving into ways Namibia, there are also certain dialects. I suppose Sekhrikwa as well. I didn't know this until I had a reading 2 years ago of a lady was Sekhrikwa. There are many dialects of Sekhrikwa as well. So I believe now, if you look at where the northern province would be, it is almost right where these people would settle, both from that side and from that side, right? So what is this gift, ya Malopo? I cannot really give you so much of the history, but let me say it like this. Another part of the history that I left out. With Abanguni, the Nguni conquests, right? Northern province became one of the places as well. Akabala exactly which king was, I don't know. Give me dupi. I don't know why I'm hearing that word, midupi. But there were conquests from the Nguni people into the northern province as well. So they took over that area, and actually what they did was they enforced Isinguni, the language, and even the culture, the beads. So now what you would see is, let's call it Bovenda Giani coming down Polokwane Bapedi. Actually, because Bapedi are originating from Botswana. So why is it that Bapedi now came up firstly with like a softer tongue to the language, and at the same time softer but deeper? You listen to Sepedi, you look at languages like Silubedu, which is really just another dialect of Sindebele, right? Now you start to see Sindebele, obviously also Mandebele from Zimbabwe as well, were conquered by, I think it was Shaka's brother who was sent to conquer that place, right? So now Isinguni was forcefully practiced with the conquest. So that is the first place that we're going to start with a gift, ya Malopo. Do you want to start there? No, let me not start there. I'll start it like this. In Central Africa, go to even Liko Zimbabwe, no. Dingakata Zimbabwe don't actually put on a lot of beads. They might have bangles, they might have ditsipi, right? Dingakata Zimbabwe primarily, even today, you can go, even now, you can go to a Ghanaian traditional healer, Balintemo, South Africa. You won't really see the traditional beads. You might see rubber bands, you might see whatever on their hands, right? You go further up also into Nigeria, and that you won't really see that. It's funny because Nigerians, I think they have the white dots as well on their faces, like the Xhosa people, right? So you won't see the traditional spiritual gift sort of displayed outwardly into beads, libungaka, limabai. You won't see that. However, what you will see is a strong prevalence towards a church or a community of some sort, right? And for those bako Malawi, badimu bako Malawi, badimu ba even about Zimbabwe, what I've seen through readings again would be that mainly kidingakatsupi. So they get told what to go and get. They get told how to heal. They get told marijuana ao. By the way, marijuana, those butternut looking things, are originally from Tanzania. They're actually Tanzanian, right? So they would get told on marijuana, on what they need to get for badimo babona. And previously, the element of istunya or a seporofito was not really separated and divided into stunya. It was kind of like so utube. You see, you get told you see the plant, or you're a seer. If ulimutako meeting, you go to the river, you wash, you go do what you need to do there, right? The act of slaughtering goats and that is, I suppose, it's in guni coming in to these traditions for Nigerians, for certain cultures, Malawans. To slaughter a goat is not even for ritualistic purposes. Khotlabapudi, it's mainly for meat. I mean, you ask Nigerians still in South Africa now, they slaughter goat meat. They don't even buy goat meat. Well, obviously because I do Yokoshopo, right? And they share it amongst themselves and they eat fresh meat. Yapudi, right? I've seen on other posts from Kenya as well. They would drink blood from the goat, from the cow, but it was for nutritious reasons, and because of the climate, it's very hot. So where they would actually pierce the cow would be on a nerve that is not on a vessel that is not a primary vessel. So the cow would not be dead. They would actually just pierce, make like an opening on a vessel that, or a nerve vessel that, not nerve, because the cow will jump on a vessel. It's minor, right? And they would actually drink the blood, collect the blood at Tembubete, for nutrition at a later stage as well. Not even for tabayan tuaso. The cow is still standing there, it's living. After that, it's going to drink some more water to replenish its blood, and it keeps on going on with its life. In as much as it would not even be like a pregnant cow. It would not be a cow it's going through any type of transformation. It would not be a cow it's meant idise or ibe like so this would be like a cow that is given, from generation to generation. It must be kept. It would not even be that cow. But okay, let me not go lol, right? So a lot of these practices that we have applied into Bungaka, actually, they have got spiritual history. And we have taken that history and applied it into Bungaka, but actually we shouldn't, right? But now, let me go back to Tabaya Malopo. Okay. You look at Central to Northern African countries. Spirituality is not marked by impande, firstly. There is no real congregation of you going to become a traditional healer. Either you are sent to a distant relative, ngaka, to a particular, each village had ngaka yabona, right? Each village inale ngaka yamole. If you are diseased, and that ngaka would just probably bring the modern version of Makobongo, that's that, blah, blah. So they've moved down, these people, have been conquered by Abanguni, are speaking Nguni language, are adopting Nguni practices, and beads were very popular with the Nguni people. Right, enter Malopo. Malopo actually are foreigners. They are the first foreigners. They are the first people who continued their gift. Or we could call it Istunya. Because Istunya, it tells you pray, wapahla. They continued their gift as Tunya. And then they were the first to transform Seporofito into, or Stunya into Mguni. I know what I'm saying is a little bit complicated. Let me say it like this. From Central Africa, Ongaka, Wablelwa, Kibadimu. These Badimus, they tell you. Ndomba, by the way, you don't need to build it because a hut or a back house is there. Every family, every African family has had this, right? So the version of what we call Ndomba today in thing in everybody's yard, or Gomutsing Omukulu, right? You go Gomutsing Omukulu for whatever family rituals. You get told in your dreams or in waking life, or I know closer people, they would literally pass out. Some people still do that. Pass out and this voice comes out ebuang on its own, right? That's where the thing Yamundao came from, right? Now, if ulingaka tsupi, primarily it is your stunya, your sporofito, even your nzuza spirits, that function, right? They are primarily the ones. You will need your stunya or a sporofito or a mlozi wako tabing, who's also stunya really sako tabing, really, right? Nzuza also connects list to Haholo. It's the Tunya element being translated into the caves because and that. Now you are introduced into a new culture that forces you guys to wear colorful beads. B, it's this culture where you're speaking the language. So, but to Malopo, the Jope, this collective group of people, although they adopted the culture, they never actually lost their own culture. Bongaka Babona always functioned from a prophetic point of view. It doesn't matter which aspect of sporofito it is, whether it's Tunya, whether it's Nzuza, whether it's Balozi wako tabing or whatever. It always functioned in that space, right? And what they did was then they were the first to take Istunya and Umloz Bamkobe into Umguni. So for those who put on, let's say Ispiga Sengwe, if you put on Ingwe, you definitely have Abalozi Basentabeni, Gamakel, Gamakos as well, right? But Ingwe, a brown and black, is also, right, Mudimu wako tabing, Mloti wako tabing, Baholo wako tabing, plain yellow, right? Today we would also have Ingwe. You do get Ingwe, yes, in Zulu. Ingwe, the brown and black one, right? But normally it'll have tassels or something white. You do get Umguni from Natal, right? From that area, Umguni, Bonguni, who is actually also Istunya or even a mermaid spirit or Sebenzela, Elwandle. So this would be Umguni, who's actually functioning as Amakosi, the Xhosa people. Xhosa people would not necessarily have Umguni. They are Nguni people. But they're a different version. They're actually more Chope and Kenyan version of Nguni people. Right? And they Nguni would be Xhosa who works in the sea. Right? That is why, yes, Xhosa, there's no real formal recognition of Umdao. Never. Malopo as well, there is no formal recognition of Umdao. So what that means is, Malopo, now that you've translated Sporofito into Bungaka, instead of Duku e yellow ya Sporofito, Duku e yellow ya Sporofito would be Duku Yankwe for somebody on Malopo. Or if Malopo agago are more towards church, Nkwe ya gago would change into Duku e yellow. Oh, right. Malopo also, kibana by the Rain Queen Mojaji. So Malopo, as part of a gift to have Malopo, you must be having a gift of the Rain Queen. So chances are, people, not even chances, but to baba nale Malopo, kiba to babu khosi directly or indirectly. Again, we're going back to Amakos. But these are Amakos who are given spirits of the rain. Right? However, rain, we know scientifically now, it comes from the rivers. It evaporates into the sky and comes down. So Mutwa Malopo will always have Istunya because of that river. Muthu wa Malopo will always have mguni, not only because of the cultural reasons, but also because go kena ka mo molapong, whether uphakamisa isithunywa or unalumdao, ukena ka mo nokeng, Malopo will always have that. Right? Because the rain comes from the river. Those people will collect dinkgotsa mates. Coming from where? Batswana, batho ba Kgalagadi, the Galanga people. And also modern day, no, not even modern day, even the San people. Ba nebanka dinkgo, ostrich eggshells, and they would actually store water underneath the sand. Right? So Malopo will definitely have a combination of that as well. Malopo is a collaboration of all of the spiritual gifts, tsa translated into Setso. But baba naling mnguni today, right? Actually, most of them don't have munguni. It's a version of a Malopo or a mermaid spirit. It's a version of that. And by the way, mermaid spirits are coming mainly from Zimbabweans, mainly. Right? So a mermaid spirit, again, Zimbabweans were connected with the Jobe who managed to come down. Right? They are the only people, Malopo, who are supposed to gita without shoba. And if you've got a Malopo gift, you should not be using a goat or even a cow tail unless or unless Muthu wa Malopo is supposed to use mokgatla wa kgokong, a wild animal. It doesn't even need to be the sable. It doesn't even need to be the wildebeest. It doesn't need to be. It could even be the giraffe. It could even be that it should just be an animal of the wild. Why? Because primarily the ancestors, you guys, batho ba Malopo, are no longer closely linked to your proper ancestral land. More South Africa, ke mo nageng for y'all. You guys mix breeds in many nations. Mo ke mo nageng mo. So that is why Khanzi Muthu wa Malopo would be said to say, okay, Tanta Twase Singuni. Right? Mnguni ole, actually, if you think about it, I've actually defined Ndao spirits for you. The Ndao spirits were people with negative karmic energy. The Nguni people came, killed some people in that area for their land. So in actual fact, Shaka and his family, right, and his brother, I think it was Dingiswayo who came and conquered that area. Shaka and that family, because they have had negative karmic debt, in actual fact, a gift ya Malopo, the Nguni spirit is actually your Mundao spirit. It's actually a Mundao spirit because it is an inherited spirit. It is the spirit of a different ancestor. It is the spirit as a result of oppression. It's not even a spirit that you were naturally born with. So Luna, because lebatu ba Malopo, lebatu ba kontle. Ba munguni wa lona. That is why you can never have leshoba la puti. Not as a first one. Munguni wa rona. Munguni wa rona. Let's say I'm Zulu. Mchali kim Zulu. She's Nguni. To you, unale Malopo. Gogo Mchali could be a distant grandmother or a cousin, but she will always be a Mundao spirit. So pila batu ba Malopo. Halir le trasa Mundao, le trasa Munguni. Why? Mundao is a spirit in a karmic debt. Mundao is a spirit. Samo. It's an ancestral, a land spirit, even. And it is a spirit that is far removed from the way that you, your family, your generations have been used to doing things. If you would just continue ka kereke and have a gift just profit. Your grandmother also ka go ruta nix o sa batleng dilo tsa bongaka. Next thing she wants to go rulo fetla le bulu. Why? Because she's got an ancestor ya ko morago, or she wants to fix certain generational curses coming up as a Mundao spirit. Therefore, she wants sitlhare. Whereas when she was living, she didn't want anything to do with sitlhare. So it's the same concept. If ule Motswana bo gogo na bomkhulu, again ka Setswana ngakatshupi. Watsamawile pa sitlhare. Mundao o buang Sindao The moment you put on beads, you must acknowledge that you must know that you're acknowledging almost a guni spirit, a Zulu spirit, actually. So you need it. Because Batswana Lima Xhosa have had a lot of connections, they've had a lot of riffraff. Wherever there was riffraff, and there would be riffraff, this group, Baba Malopo, were a collaboration of migrants that came from wherever, brought new products, right? Starting at the Khoikhoi. The Khoikhoi were the first people to bring proper cattle here, apparently, according to Google. But a friend of mine once gave me a very interesting insight that in actual fact, we might be thinking of Africa as a migration from up down. Actually not. My friend said to me, people used to migrate around Africa, they would go to where there is rain. So that is the significance, again, of Malopo and the Rain Queen Mojaji. It's so interesting because there is no real history. Or where do they come from? Right? We just know that Mujaji is primarily a water spirit. She's primarily like a mermaid. But banabagage ba botlhe ba mo binela tshantse ba gite because munguni ole ke mundao to them. Okay. So what does this mean? It means that saparo sa motho o thwa sa Malopo, initially coming from where you come from your bloodline. Luna, you guys nile makhosi apara white. Lidingaka tsupi, again, we are looking at white and blue. Right? You guys have got intuition. The tsipi, the copper bangles, Malopo style. Y'all did not give. Y'all did not need beads. Right? In as much as linelirwala modi tlhogong, not out of bungaka. Linelirwala because, hey, if you are Kushite, which are what? Somalians, Ethiopians, linelirwala modi tlhogong as setso sa lona, as whoever you were during the migration. Right? These are people that came with products. These are people who were drawn towards the river banks because river banks were like trading spots. They were like malls. So these were primarily, again, people who were the first to connect with Arabs, who were the first to start to bring certain materials. That is why Mozambique, Zimbabwe, all of the African countries, you get a rich culture of fabrics. They started to bring that down to us. All right. So it means, you guys were primarily white. Always. In actual fact, Islam has kept a good part of Malopo gifts alive. Right? Islam. Probably you guys were primarily Muslims. Right? And then Lirala di Duku, and the men would have the long garment. Right? Versions of white or linen sackcloth. But because linali munguni that you have inherited, pila, you guys have taken that duk e white and the sack linen cloth and translated it to this new culture that you are in. And guessing guni, when you've got a strong munguni spirit, you wear black. But Malopo, they wear black clothes. And you will see them kadi color beads. Red and white is not the strongest color for Motuonaling Malopo. Because red and white is an expression ya munguni, but not really. Right? What they do is that they go for different colors. Right? Today it's funny because retwasa Malopo, but I watched a video not so long ago. Yabo kuku baba rutang banyana. Hobinela Malopo. Banyana again, because of the Rain Queen. What would happen is that when there is no rain, they'd send virgins. Bailobina, kulibaling. There's a specific dance with the songs. And then Hababua, they report to the queen or to the head of the chief ngak, I would suppose, who would now report back to the queen. Right? So it is not really Malopo is actually the evolution of the Chope Zimbabwean Khalakadi combination people gift. They still do it. You could still lirute bana korobao binela Malopo. There's no ntwaso involved. There should actually not be an ntwaso involved. However, but because Linale Munguni, who's actually your Ndao spirit, then little ntwaso for some. But it's not a prerequisite. Motu onale Malopo because Munguni is Mundao. Then Mundao does not necessarily hatwa siwi, like I've said. So it's not a prerequisite for ajelwen twas. And lona kabulona because limakosi, libatobako bukhosing haliji madi. Right? So you guys, pila, koma fetong arona amalopo, if you've got a Mundao that is behaving in a nguni way, libudlu la munguni should be the last given after la Mundao. We should start you kalipudlu la stunya and then move to libudlu la makosi and then give you libudlu la Mundao and then lastly la munguni. You guys would actually have marijuana, those butternut things from Tanzania, where you guys come from. You guys would have those even before lifeta khutwaza. It's a very intricate gift. Another thing Kamalopo is that Kamalopo, you never have 1 or 2 or 3 spirits. But Kamalopo is a combination. Yabadimu. You would have literally Ndao spirits mainly. Babama 15. You guys are the only people that are supposed to have more than 1 Ndao spirit. And I get a more than 1. I mean, I don't mean 2 Ndao spirits. I mean like 15. I mean like 5. I mean like 10. The amount is ridiculous. And mutwateng ukrana le munda wateng abu wa sejope abu se khrikwa abu se o tshwanetse. We will say gore ke manda wa gage yao. Akabua many dialects because even to becoming but what we would call Bapedi, Mashangani, whatever, you guys are actually a combination of many languages. You guys' language was formed as a trader's language. So you would speak the original version of your ancestry. And I mean, think about it. Malopo are like people here living in Joburg. I mean, here we can have kids, Chinese people, blah, 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 blah. We date, we marry whoever we like. So they created initially Mutsi, right? Governed mainly by the pursuit of material gains. Right? So that is another thing about people wanting a gift Malopo. You guys will most probably be required in one way or another to pursue an ancestral thing, whether it's gardening, whether it's like a whatever land project, whether it's you know, a school rehabilitation, social programs. You guys would have that because primarily Badimu Balo now where people they were making money as traders, making money. Probably your ancestors were the first to start to learn Hua and Arab and all of that. They should have been, right? So mutu ona linge gift ya Malopo mandao a gago now amangata gape, right? Oh, adding limunguni luna pila I lishoba, you have it even before likenako twaso. Most of you guys will dream of it. Why? Because kila koko y'all came here ka hunter, y'all came here ka a hunter's mentality. So you will take that. Marijuana, how you will get them before. Should you drink ntwaso, 99% of the time, 99% of the time, you guys will have metal things. That is why some of y'all those silver bangles. Y'all will have those. Copper bangle, silver bangles. But it's silver is seldom because Badimbaluna where people ancients coming and giving you guys gifts. Gifts tse di kenyang tšhelete ka mo gare because ke bongaka tshupe. So these were seers. These were like bana ba di businessmen. Luna le di spoiled bread of African spirituality. Right? Lena pila pila le makhoa. Simple, simple. Because just from the Polokwane Pedi vendor Tsonga people, many, you guys are like a whole branch. When you've got a gift, Malopo, how you be from a tree? You don't. You epa a root, but it would be a specific root at a particular place. People with Malopo spirits, they actually work on the edge branches of the tree. Y'all lady spoiled breads, alena nako. So the clare like ifembo, the clare tamandao, you guys use those. Fine leaves, twigs. You guys don't go for an entire branch. You guys don't go for the entire bark of the tree. You don't have time for that. Banguni came and taught you guys to use the bark of the tree. However, you guys, going back to like the baobab tree and that, Luna, you sit in the tree, you would rather pray at the tree, you would rather use maybe the outside bark, you don't cut down the tree. You would use the roots of the tree that are protruding out, like the baobab tree. Right? From deep within. For that. Skanama, you guys could use it because Skanama is prevalent. Kabatswan. Right? And Sikanama, in actual fact, becomes like a little shrub. Mudimu. La siep. Y'all don't go. Kepitaluna didi kutswani didi kan. It's a short kepi. It's a short kepi. It's a short one. You are meant hukunama li partly because like I'm saying, the spoil bread, kamo lima Muslim. Y'all are halal. Pila moto ona lenge gift. Even Malopo atano jana makulube sfapano. But like berekisa nama eo ya kolube for the tlhare. Let me tell you guys something interesting. ZCC, I've had a few lessons from Linyelwela ko ZCC. Witi lan rata Linyelwela. ZCC is actually the first cultivated church. Malopo. For the fact that you get Mudimu, Otakanyang Taba, yellow, Lidinukana, and this voice that told Kanyani after he was in his church, Kwanakenate, I look at tabbing. Or he must start Hukopanya Bamudim. If you can look at that, and I remember doing a reading a year ago of a lady who was like a descendant of the wife, or the initial Lekanyan. That wife's ancestry was said to be from Malawi. Actually, it's very possible that that wife's ancestry, because in African countries, Musadi, when she's given even a spiritual gift, and I will teach about mermaid spirits too, then Badimu Bahaye, they transfer her gifts over to the husband. That is why it is so important for Linyale Basadi Balona properly. Then they transfer her gifts. If she had been given a gift, those gifts will be transferred to the husband. The husband must go. Right? She stays in and remains with this tunyor, the prophetic version of the gift. So when I found out during this reading that this lady was actually the descendant of like a distant relative of the wife, so much made sense because I kept on seeing this woman, Wako Malawi, wearing a white dress. And not so long ago, I think it was a few weeks ago, Linyelela ZCC actually said to me, Saparo sabo mme, sa yellow and green, has actually evolved from pure white, nibakinya le mabanda a white. Pila, musadi wan tate mogolo engenas. She was the one who was the founder la ZCC. And because her husband Badimo transferred the ancestral Malopo part of her gift. That lady asalaka spore of it. There's no mention of her. Because in African spirituality, ngaka ya musadi didn't need to be mentioned. Nasa iko na tlhokometse bana. Stunya would be functional. The husband would go and use this gift to make money, whatever, and all of that. Right? So, Ntate Mogolo Engenase founded his church. The voice that he heard must have been the voice of his in-laws. Must have been the voice of his in-laws. African ancestors from around Central Africa, your gift ya gago ya badimo would erupt slowly, would come slowly through the toro and that. But once you get married, then the gift would come full circle. It is still like that even today. Now ke alaraba wa ba dimbalna ba batla gore lenyalo pele and have failed marriages. You must ubane le monna or ngwana. Gore you must be recognized ke badimo ba ga gore o mosadi. Why? Because now you've shown the collaborative efforts. Not only are you a spiritual gem, but now even physically, right? Even liba your man or baby daddy, it's important. It's important. So that is why most prophets, not just by Malopo, when you've got a spiritual gift, you'll have a child. Baby daddy abana taba. Because in actual fact, if you think about the rain queen Mojaji, no one knows who her man is. Stilo silky stilo sabo khosi baba sad. And kibo khosi babone, but they don't actually do much. It's a dynasty run, right, by a matriarchal system. And this matriarchy sends women to speak to the divine when there are problems. So in African culture, it means that a woman's job is only to connect to God and to Badimu. Why? Musadi konotlisa motomu. If Badimu balona needs to bring food, mumutsing. Well, yeah, it should be Basadi that are going there. I mean, right. So it's very interesting how Malopo works. I've said mundao hatwasiwi, but like I'm saying, I've seen some people run Malopo, they do end up going by ilo twasa mundao. Should you twasa, sorry, should you twasa mundao wele ngoriki munguni, then utanti utlabe pudi, probably a dark brown one, utlapisiwe ka madia thing only, wapara ndao o, aumuji, not ever. Not ever. If you are supposed to have, or you have mundau, who could be Kenyan, mone madi, then utanwa madi, not a budi still. It's about home. And a komuyo tantibe yamole saki la kochenu must continue to live. And it can't be a female cow that could be pregnant. It would be a male cow. A bull. Right. So Malopo is a very interesting gift. Let me tell you the easiest way to twasa Malopo. The easiest way. How else do you have a guni spirit who's actually mundao and then habatoko jantwaso? How else do you slaughter a goat, a brown, yantwaso, but actually you're not supposed to drink the blood? Why? Utlapisiwa yalo utlosa saparo se black sa munguni utlosa munguni who has forced your ancestors to be recognized. Umutlapa ka madi a pudi utlosa yena. Malopo wa gago after wapara utlapisiwa ka madi, your outfit should change from black into white and red, or pure white. The easiest way ya go thwasa malopo ke go kena kereke ya sephiri, because hala tshwano ja ntwaso at all. Munda wa malopo normally o tshantse bisiwe ko nokeng lo tlhabelwa dikgogo. From there munda wa gago go etsiwe magwana, o fiwe magwana gago o age ntomba. Ndomba tsa lona pila because we are only calling them dindomba now. If you want, malopo gifts have got a combination of abalozi as well. So okabe ya ndomba pili. Because you guys were not aging dindumba because lili dingaka. Linelebe ya dindumba because it was your culture where you come from. And just like Manyasa when they started Godi mining and Malawans would go. That's how Teba came into fruition, by the way. They would come, work here, babereke once a year by a high. Kunale around hat ko high. So your ndumba was actually your version or your ancestors' version of going back. Linka chelte mo Gauteng liwela ko mrao. So if you want, you could put ndomba pili even before you go into us. And I know people are going to say no Kimaka. I know. Malopo is the highest ranking form of African spirituality you find because it's the only one that has translated Africans to your initial individuation of God and applied it into day-to-day living, right? And even put them into their tradition. How do you know Malopo spirits? That's a very good question. Let me think about that. Okay. I'm just being shown this. Motho wa Malopo will initially start to be shown ditaula in their sleep. Okay. They will be shown the ditaula that big shell. Yeah, Mozambique. They'll be shown a lot of shells. Little ones were like marapo on your beads. And I've seen this is a popular thing nowadays that we're doing. Marapo on our hands. Those things, by the way, those are for Bakalanga people. Bakalanga people, in the Sen, Khoisan, they did not have beads. Nibakinya rapo on a string. That's it. What else would you be seeing? Machacha, you would be seeing a lot of that. You could see mermaids, but Khanti, it's unlikely. You would be having a lot of dreams. Busiku or kamatha. Y'all don't dream in broad daylight. What I'm saying is, in your dream, in your dream, in your dream, you will see people balaitile mollo ko ntle. Molelo bontate mogolo mollo, dipitsa tse dintsho. Pearls hangata koko are leaning towards Bohosi Baba. That's Stswana. It's again Bahurutsi going into Stswana. Awa bona. Bao vele, ba eyes are ladies web breads about. Baba sleya about the pearls. But I do believe you would have pearls as well. You should. Because pearls come from oysters. And yes, pearls come from oysters. Oysters come from the sea. So it would mean if you dream of pearls, it would mean your Munguni spirit is actually Makosi. It's a long story. So how else would you see them? The gift Malopo likes to initially show itself like bungaka, but li diwasho. You would be in church one moment, ulingaka the other moment. They are the first, really, to be ngaka profita together. They are the first. If really ule Motswana, you are leaning more towards the porofito. Stunya brings nzuza. Nzuza brings baloti. Baloti bako tabeng, they come. Then khotla tsupe. Ngaka tsupe. Mainly. Khantle. I saw the black and white njit. I was like, finally, somebody has come up and njit black and white. They've been using the maroon and white cloth. recognizing their more Mozambican ancestors. Black and white in jet. Malopo, you need that. Malopo as well. You would have a grass mat or not. Initially, you're supposed to have a plain white cloth and a plain black cloth. Nothing in between. Right? The multicolored cloth, yeah, look. Now I see like sherbet. So I know when somebody anale Malopo spirit, settling more towards tunya, I see okay, sherbet. The color. So that tells me he's tunyas, like the other version. Yellow and jetty, yeah, but because it's more, yellow and jetty cocoa, I don't want to lie to you. I bought it and I'm not sure what it does. But yellow ki color, but what would you type in? I would think yellow and jetty would be more towards the Soto. That's what I would think. The Xhosa version is very interesting. I'm thinking about it. La Malopo should have some type of black on it. Right? You guys were also the first, but Malopo are the first. And I think they should be the main people. Baba aparang mapai are red. The red lion cloth is yours. The red sun cloth, kilalon. Masila red, kialon. Actually. Because Luna khantle tshwana go jamadi. So lisila lele red becomes your ndwaso cloth. Lali apara, like I said, because of that goat, every time to klapisiwe ka yone rumadi, every time to klapisiwe ka yone fele, you're not supposed to ingest it. So but Dimbaluna have actually come up with the red cloth. In actual fact, they're showing you there is a munguni element there. Right? So I would say the easiest way would be to twasa Malopo would be to I'm just over an hour. The easiest way to twasa Malopo would be to kena kereke spirit, because pila lona le tshwantse le twase like for a long time. And the reason why le tshwantse le twase for a long time is because malume, okay, ka Xhosa le singuni ke mvumo kufa, malume tshwantse go irele mmereko. Kuku tshwantse go irele mmereko, kuku kwa motswala mmahao tshwantse go fesa aparo. Kuku tshwantse go irele mmereko. Ko habo papa hao they must ba ire mmereko. Go berekiwa mole. So Sedimo sa teng sort of acknowledges everybody. And I also think gore Sedimo sa teng does not consider are you all married or not. Oh, by the way, yeah. Like I said, ki mo Gauteng. Malopo ke batho ba Gauteng. So it doesn't consider the marriage rights as such. If ngwana una le mme, una le ntate, we know that. Ka Malopo, because ke bana ba the Rain Queen, the family ya kwa bo mme is the most important one anyway. Ka setso. So mme o go ronyetswe ke monna teng ha gona taba what has happened. However, wena motho na leng a gift ya Malopo, go na le Sedimo bo kuku le bo kuku on your father's side and your bontate mogolo on your father's side. So o tloya o bereka Sedimo, lena le Sedimo se sentsi because go phatla batho ba bantshi and at different times, and each one of them must be given the opportunity ya gore ba go bege, right? Because you guys are like a combination of many cultures, right? So I hope you guys learned a lot today. Easiest way, like I said, Malopo will have stunya, it's pure white dress. Ukreibile se sa batle masela di phologolo. And then you will have a munguni mdao, who is also ngakatsupe. So this is a Zionist spirit. And yes, Zionist spirits are coming from where you guys come from. Zionist spirit ki green. Ole yanong itlo ba ntate mogolo wa kereke or nkoko wa kereke, but o tlo berekisa ditlhare gut. And then you'll have an in-betweener spirit, right, who will be like ungwe. Or if your gift is leaning more towards that tunya, it won't be ngwe, it will be tugwe a yellow. So ntate nkoko Meomogolo from ko habo mmao ka Selopo has got a say. Rakulu or Kuku on your father's side, one tate mogolo has got a say. They become like the grass mat and the white cloth. They become ntate limme, the original. And from them, they become like an alpha and omega setup. When tate from that side or ntate or me from that side comes together, ntate or me that side. So if your father's family was more towards mermaid spirits, then it will be motona mole o tlo go fang a gift ya ko Malopo. It will be berekang towards the more rain, the more water version. It will be nkoko wa ko ga bo papa. For ma le papa go they are married or not, she's just going to ask go tlhabe dinkueng blah 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 tlhakanye sedimo go nyalane, because in those cultures, Sepedi, Venda, Silobedu, I believe as well. Right? And then if there's a more traditional side on your mother's side, will be the paternal ancestor, right? And give you now butsupebo. So you guys are the proper version of Nyanga on his tune. You guys are the proper version. You guys are the first to do this. And you guys are a very powerful nation. Mutona linge gift ya Malopo la sa tshwano jantwas. I jile ka pos. Wa phomella. Stunya will struggle, but it will still be functional. Motswana, Xhosa, Sotho, Ndebele, yo utlu jentwas ofela. Una le stunya mo mathateng. Because it's mermaid spirits or nguni or cultural spirits, Mtswana Msotho wa ka mogae, who works first. And bona ba batle singuni at all. Abase batle. Your stunya will dwindle. Lata and all of that. So I've seen people talk about Ndebele cloths. Yes, Malopo would be Mandebele. They would, like I said, they would be related to Ndebele people, because Ndebele people were actually Zimbabweans who had the Zulu people also conquering them. Right? Bulawayo is actually in Zimbabwe, and Bulawayo ilatilwe ki the brother Washaka. And he decided to stay there. However, it's funny, with Ndebele people, the initial Zimbabwean culture, Ndebele people are more towards mermaid spirits. I'm going to teach about that next week. They are actually the founders of mermaid spirits. They are the founders of mermaid spirits. Botswana and the Begalanga and the Namibians. So retlabu next week. You know, I've just said a lot, learned a lot. Learn a lot. Boxer. I'm going to just put my number. For those who've made readings and paid for them, please go drop the WhatsApp. I was sick the weekend, so you know I saw like the proof of payments under like heavy medication. So just drop me messages with your proof of payments. I'm just going to put my number here again, and then yeah, lining start to work. Have a great Wednesday. Thokozani.